Hello and welcome to today's special video. So this time we're going to be having a look at the new Doctor Who magazine special edition for Target books. Now this has been highly anticipated. It's already been creating quite a stir online and it is absolutely fantastic. Now it's proved quite difficult to get. I've had to go to 3 different shops myself to track down a copy, so I don't know if it's got a short print run or what, but it just seemed to be quite elusive. But I've got one, and I know some of my friends online are having an issue trying to track one of these down, so I'm going to pop a video straight up today going through the magazine until you can get your hands on one for real. So without further ado then, sit back, relax, and let's go take a look. Okay, so here it is, the much anticipated Doctor Who magazine special edition. And this particular one is looking at Target books, those much loved Target books. Certainly I love them myself. So first of all, what a great cover. The Christos Achilles cover for the Daleks. It's just fantastic. This was $5.99 in the UK. And it has just come out as of, where are we today? It's the 10th of August, 2019. There we are on the back there. $6.99. It's listed as Doctor Who magazine special edition number 53. And it's just dated as autumn 2019. Now, reading on some of the Facebook groups, it does appear as if, for some crazy reason, this isn't going to be generally distributed in the States or outside of the UK, which is crazy unless you're a subscriber. So I thought, for the people who are ending up having to go and jump onto eBay or places like that to get themselves a copy, I thought I'd give them a little preview of the magazine today, so you can see what you'll be getting when you do track a copy down. So here we are. So just a in-house adverts there. First page then is a little introduction. I got that great Death to the Daleks cover there, and a word from the editor. Any self-respecting Doctor Who fan has read more than their fair share of Doctor Who Target books over the years. I certainly loved it, and I have already covered the early years of Doctor Who in paperback, 64 to 75, on my YouTube channel. And this coming Sunday, depending on when you're watching this, I will put a link, of course, at the end of this video, but I'll have part 2, which is 1976 to 1979. So anyway, look at that. What a great splash page there. That Invasion of the Dinosaurs cover, one of my all-time favorites. That font, I just want to get that font, you know. Anyway, this is a closer look at the contents page here, if we can see that. So this is what's going to be coming up in the magazine. And I shall, rather than go into detail with that, I shall just show each bit as we go along. I'm not going to read it or comment on it because I'm sure that you'll enjoy doing that yourself. So, Doctor Who, The Unfolding Texts. So there was a book called The Unfolding Text, wasn't there? But this one's by Jonathan Morris. And this looks at the early years of Target books, how they got started. And we got a look at the basis of them. So there's the hardbacks. I see that's the back of the first Doctor Who monster book there, which has got all those early block logos on. Yeah, quite nice. It's still such a great cover, that one. That original Daleks one of my all-time favourites. Based on the popular TV shows. So there we are. So it's showing some of the other books which also had TV tie-ins around that time. So there was Time Slip, A for a Drop. Of course, loads of Star Trek books by then had been published. I mean, most of the bigger TV shows, almost all the Jerry Anderson books had TV tie-ins, so it was nothing really that unusual. And, you know, it seemed crazy, really, that Doctor Who didn't have more published in the 1960s than actually was published, really. So then there's the artwork for Fury from the Deep in the background. And then this looks at the Doctor Who Discovers range. Now, this was, I've done another video on these as well, but this was another real oddball sort of line. And they are curiosity pieces to this day, rather than anything else. But they are still published by Target, so they're part of the Target story. So there's a little look at the history behind those. Then Doctor Who Discovers Inventors. So this is a typescript for which, so this would have continued the series, the Doctor Who Discovers series, with an Inventors spin-off, and this is the first time this has ever been published, so this is something brand new. And also Pirates, which was another one. So this would have expanded the Doctor Who Discovers series. So quite interesting that. Next, of course, there's an interview with none other than Mr. Terrance Dicks. And Terrance Dicks, I mean, what can you say? The guy is Mr. Target. He wrote more novelizations than anybody else. And it's great that he's still with us and he can bring all his memories of writing these books as well as being on the show back to us for modern audiences. Now, this is all right. That's okay. I mean, it's interesting. They've got these photos of people's collections or maybe the editor's collections. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that in this magazine. You see it on the great Target Book Facebook pages, collectors pages, where people show off their collections. Surely they could have grabbed a few of those and just got the author's permission and said, would you mind if I used your brilliant pictures of your collections because they look so great. It's a shame they've not included a bit more of that in this appreciation of the Target books, but there we are. So anyway, that's on to Terrance Dicks with his interview. Obviously, that's quite a few pages here. He was involved pretty much right from the start. Now, this is a look at a chap called Alan Willow. Now, he was an illustrator, and he drew some of those little exclusive, black and white vignettes inside some of the classic earlier Doctor Who books. There's that one from the Auton Invasion, and this one is from Doctor Who and the Cybermen. And I used to love those, as a kid. 1975, I was 5 or 6 years old. These were the very first books I ever read. The first Target book for me was Doctor Who and the Cave Monsters, and I absolutely loved it. And just having those little one-page illustrations made all the difference as a youngster. Absolutely love them. Next, of course, interview with Chris Achilles. So probably he is my all-time favourite Doctor Who cover artist. I absolutely love him. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think they've all been of an incredible quality. I particularly like Andrew Skilleter's work, who's fantastic as well. But there's so many of them, isn't there? But I think Chris Achilles, these are the ones I first grew up with as a kid, and each and every one of them resonates quite well with me. And that's why I love them so much. I'm certainly hoping to meet him at one of the conventions because he does appear at them. And he's more than happy to sign his work. Claws of Axos and his Genesis was fantastic. That's really good. They've shown the Ice Warriors cover there. They've shown the black and white illustrations, which he used as a basis for doing that, which many artists do. Now, this next bit, we're about halfway through the magazine now. This is then what the fanzine said. So, as the books were being published, Doctor Who fandom was in existence, and they reviewed every book as it was coming out, much the same as Doctor Who magazine does today. And this is a look at those vintage reviews throughout the years. Eye of Horus, Gary Russell Shada, DWB, fantastic, of course, Celestial Toymaker. This next one I found particularly interesting. This is a look at all the foreign editions of the Doctor Who books, and there's been loads of them, although thankfully not quite as many as you might think. But they got the American Pinnacle ones and some of the Hungarian, Portuguese, Turkish. There's loads, isn't there? The French ones as well. All curiosities which are all part of the collecting Doctor Who scene. And I suppose if you have got all the British Doctor Who Target books, maybe move on to the foreign ones. I know those Japanese ones are particularly sought after and very good, apparently. Then Parallel Lines. So this looks at the difference between some of the book adaptations and what actually appeared on screen. So that's what those ones are. That's what this little article looks at. The sort of little differences between the stories and the finished novels. Now, interview with another cover artist, Andrew Skilleter. As I said, one of the fantastic early Doctor Who cover artists. I remember meeting him at one of the Panopticons back in the late 80s, and absolutely fantastic guy. I used to have his poster prints and things like that. And obviously he did lots and lots of classic covers. I think it was Destiny of the Daleks. I think that was his first one. But yeah, he continues to be involved in Doctor Who to this day with some of the audio releases. Then we've got Rewriting History. So this is an interview with Nigel Robinson, who was editor of the Doctor Who range for several years. And he he wrote some books himself. He did the quiz book. And he also filled in a lot of the blanks on some of those old Hartnell stories, which had yet to be adapted. There's a little photo there of the Target editors. I remember the competition, the Doctor Who 1985. There was one before that as well. Yeah, so a look at the different Doctor Who editors over the years. Getting the picture. So so this is a look at fans some of the lucky fans who actually own original Doctor Who cover artwork, and there's a few of them out there. I've actually traded with a couple. I don't own any Doctor Who cover artwork, but I've traded actual books with a couple of collectors, notably Dale Santos, who is active on the Doctor Who Collectors Target book forum, and he has, I think, probably more Doctor Who cover art than anybody else. It's not really a spoiler, but one of the things I didn't know, noted Doctor Who historian and collector David J. Howe, who wrote the Target book, the definitive Bible for Target. I hadn't realised, but he actually owns the original 3 Doctor Who book jackets: the Daleks, the Crusaders, and what's the other one? And the Zarbi, of course. He owns the 3 original pieces of work for that, which is just mind-blowing. Sadly, they're not pictured in here, his original artworks, but I'd love to see those, whether they're framed up or if they're going to be part of his Doctor Who museum. I don't know, but this is absolutely fascinating about what people have paid, sometimes in the thousands for some of these bits of artwork, and what they do to do them. And there was certainly there's David Howe there now with Chris Achilles and Peter Capaldi. They did do a Doctor last year for the re-release of the Doctor Who Target books. They did do a little mini exhibition in London where a lot of Target luminaries attended. So that's pretty cool. Look at that there, the cover to the Smugglers. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Next one, as I'm sure you're aware, there was those few companion pieces where they did the Turlough, the Harry Sullivan's War, K9 and Company, of course, was another one. And that's a look at those little spin-offs. Next, it's an interview with John Peel, who, when he got into writing, had a lot of mentorship from Terry Nation, and it's sort of his look at that, and he had the sort of blessing of Terry Nation to continue adapting his Dalek stories, which is what he's done. So there's an interview with him, which is fantastic. Next, yet another cover artist, and that's Jeff Cummins. So an interview with him, and got his classic Tomb of the Cybermen with the wrong Cybermen on, but that 3 Doctors cover was fantastic. I love both, but that one there, I never had the one with Omega on when I was a kid. I had that one there, and that's really nice to see that artwork there. Fang Rock artwork. Ghostwriting. So this is a look at an interview with Mark Platt, and he adapted his own novelization of Ghostlight and Battlefield. So that's an interview with him there. And then this is an interview with Anthony Dry. Now, he is responsible for doing the cover designs for the most recent Target books, and he's used that combination of styles from the back in the 70s and early 80s up and bringing it up to date with today's actors, and I think he's done a really great job with those. I think you will agree. And that just about, there's a little bit of fan service there, that just about brings it to an end with that very last one here, which is a little chat with Peter McTighe with his now that's probably, in my opinion, the best picture in the entire magazine, with this chat with his like hardbacks and surrounded with his paperbacks there as well. So that is the Doctor Who magazine special edition, and it is great. I'm sure you will agree, and well worth tracking down a copy. As I said, it's not a definitive history like the Telos Target book by David J. Howe. That is still the ultimate Bible, but this is a worthy addition to sit alongside it. And if you can track a copy, I had to go to 3 shops before I was able to track one down of these. So maybe it's a real sellout, they've not printed enough, or it's just going to be scarce, but I would highly, highly recommend you get one of these in the flesh before it goes out of print. There we go. One. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that look at this Target Books Doctor Who magazine special edition. It certainly is well worth your trouble tracking a copy of this down. Now, if you have liked this content, I have some other videos on early Doctor Who Target books on the channel. The video for the first one is already up. Part 2 is going to be published on Sunday this week, and that looks at years 76 to 79. But the years prior to that have all been covered on the channel, so I should put links to that around on the screen now. If you've not already, do please consider subscribing for regular Doctor Who content going forward. And thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.